Hey everybody, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back for another video talking about Dead City Season 2, Episode 4, Feisty Friendly. And something I've noticed in the last handful of episodes is it seems like they find a way to sneak the title name into the episode as a part of dialogue, which, it's whatever. It's not really a big thing. But anyways, this episode, it was good. I really liked it. And getting our formal introduction of Brugal, aka Kim Coates, coming in to play this part. And it maybe it's just me, but it feels like this actor, if you know who he is, he's famous for the part of Tig in Sons of Anarchy. He tends to play the same character kind of over and over. Like, I'm not complaining or anything. He really does a good job at it. He knows how to play this type of character, and coming in to play this guy who is, of course, the billionaire from the former world and has ruled over his own little empire or whatever, this part of New York, and they're housed out in a museum. And they come to find out actually this museum was actually won over in a wager between Christos, which is the guy that got his ass shocked and thrown to the ground in the first episode. But we get a little bit more history there. We get a little bit more confirmation on certain things. We get to see just how the relationship between Dama and Croat is eroding, and it's very strained, and Croat's just slowly realizing how full of crap she is, and just how he feels kind of probably betrayed in a sense, where Negan is doing these things to kind of win her over, to mostly keep his family safe, but keep himself safe in the same aspect, where he will step in and kind of manage a deal or whatever. And Croat is just, he doesn't like the way things are playing out, which is something I'm really enjoying about the progress of his characters, seeing how that relationship that he's worked so hard to maintain with Dama, and just thinking that he's more important to her than he really is. She could care less about him. That much is clear, where she does not care about anyone. And on top of that, too, we got a little bit more backstory about her, about who she was in the old world. She was a critic for theater, and she had become known for actually attacking another critic or someone that was, out there, reviewing different things. And she got known for getting into an altercation and actually biting someone. So right there, that kind of tells you all we need to know about her, aside from what we've learned about her along the way. She is very unhinged. She is very just kind of out of her mind, and she's just weird, to put it lightly. I mean, she just is very just, I don't know, eccentric, and just thinks very highly of herself. You can kind of see in the way she talks to people and everything, her mannerisms, her speech, her the words that she uses and whatnot. She just really believes that she is awesome. She just has very high opinion of herself. And seeing how they're trying to form this alliance with Brugal and his team, we can see that it's almost looks like it's not going to work. And we see that Negan and everybody is in there, and he's trying to get this deal made. And you can tell Negan too, he doesn't want to be there. I mean, we already know this, but we can tell just he is over it. He doesn't want to be a part of this crap, and he wants to get his family, but he's doing this for the safety of his family. And we get that scene in the beginning where they first arrive to the museum, and Negan comes across this walker that's locked up in a truck, and he just has a little smirk, kind of, this is kind of funny or whatever. And then Dama comes up and mentions his family again, and you instantly just see that being wiped from his face. He's like, I'm going to kill this bitch the first chance I get, which I really just, I cannot wait for that moment. It's either going to be him or it's going to be Maggie. And based on what we learned in this episode and the things that we saw, we see that with Maggie and Pearlie and Herschel out there on the mission to find Negan after it was revealed, and they don't want to reveal this to the rest of the group because Negan, of course, is supposed to be dead as far as New Babylon is concerned. And then so they're out there, and they have this moment too where they're in the park making their way through, and Pearlie and Maggie talk about what they miss from the old world, and of course they miss the food, they miss candy bars and things like that. And we get a little reference to Glenn talking about how he was able to come across a candy bar about 2 or 3 years, she said, into the apocalypse, and it was a gift for her birthday. She doesn't say him by name, but we get clearly what that's supposed to mean. And so we just get them making their way, and they eventually do make their way in, and they create distractions. And beforehand, Brugal took Dama and everybody through the museum, showing him his favorite pieces and whatnot. Of course, one of those was Washington crossing the Hudson. And this is where we see later in the episode where the painting catches on fire, and he's just distraught. Like he loves art, he loves history and things like that. And this was just clearly a distraction to bring him, to get him away from the pit and everything. As we get that pit fight with his walkers, and something kind of interesting and revealing for that part too, where we always wondered why are walkers attacking each other, and they kind of covered it up for the initial introduction of that scene where we see them dousing the walkers' heads with what I can only assume is like live guts, like blood and whatnot, to really trigger the walkers' feeding instincts. And we get this fight, and Brugal's got this champion walker that's is known. This is how they all do their I guess trials, or not trials, but just their wagers and whatnot. And this is how they win certain things or property, and this is how he came into possession of the museum. He had a wager with Christos, and he won that from him because they would put walkers up against each other. And then we get kind of some reveal there later in the episode where the whole deal where they're trying to form this alliance falls apart, because you can see throughout the episode that Croat is just becoming increasingly annoyed and just angered by everything that is happening. He's not being part of the dealing process. He's really understanding and seeing that Dama doesn't respect him or anything. I mean, he's kind of a man child in a sense too, where he's not being paid attention to, and he doesn't like it. And they talk about how Brugal wants to make this deal, but one little addendum to their deal, and Croat just loses it. He says, "We're not going to do that. We're going to keep the methane where it's at. We're going to produce it in the one place where it's at. We're in total control of all of it." And of course, this is where the deal kind of dissolves, and Negan has to step in and kind of sweeten the pot or make his own wager, where he says, "I will put my own walker against yours." And that's what he does. He says he goes out and grabs the walker from the truck and brings him in, and then they have their little fight. And so they're having their fight, and there's these certain rules, like they can be armored up as much as they want. They can't have any physical contact. They can't sway the fight one way or another as far as interrupting. So Negan kind of sees loopholes there, and we can see the Brugal's putting his arm in the cage to kind of draw the other walker to him, so the other walker can kind of pounce. And Negan sees this. He does his own thing. He jumps in there and kind of corrals them and lures them around the pit. And as he jumps out and closes the gates, and that other bigger walker gets up close to the gate, he can see it's not a walker at all. It's a human being. And we get kind of a reveal of who that is with the story that Brugal had told early in the dinner, where he talks about his bodyguard Tony from the old days, because he was so well known and a lot of people didn't like him, that he hired Tony to come in and protect him, and he stuck with him to the bitter end and throughout everything that happened in the apocalypse. So Negan sees that this is a human being, and he kind of puts it at this guy's advantage, because Negan is not that guy anymore. He's not the guy that will put people to death or want to see other people killed for amusement to others. And so he gives this guy the advantage, and he kills the other walker, or I guess the one walker, because this guy is just very malnutritioned and just a shell of a man. Because we get the reveal in later in the episode that he's actually being held prisoner, because we get that piece in the beginning of the episode where he's being fed live rats, and that's like probably his only form of food. And so he's just very beaten down and everything. And so we get a couple of different reveals I enjoyed about this episode, because we get that reunion between Negan and Maggie, where she's made her way into the museum and everything, and she finds a way to isolate him, which is with the savior whistle. He hears it from a distance, and that's like the best way she could figure out how to lure him so they could talk. And we get this discussion between them about, she doesn't give a shit about the methane. She just wants to know what's going on, and they're trying to get her and Herschel out of there and just find a way to get everybody to safety. And Negan's like, I have to do this. He doesn't come out and say it, but she figures it out that he's doing it for his family. And a funny thing to me about the whole interaction actually was she didn't say a word about the fact that he had a new Lucille in his hands. And I thought that was kind of strange, but I'm sure that'll come up again at, their next interaction or what have you. And their parting words, Negan's like, don't trust Herschel. She got to him. She got into his head somehow. And of course, being his mother and everything, she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to believe it. But as she is making her way out of there, because she has to escape by kind of one of the upper walls or whatever, she sees Dama. They actually make eye contact. And Dama knows exactly who she is. and Maggie realizes who she is from the drawing that Herschel had done previously. And so something bad's going to happen to Donna. She's going to say something about Herschel. I think Maggie's definitely, in my opinion, going to be the one to take her out. We see that scene in the trailer where she picks up Lucille, and that's she's going to cave in Dama's head with that. And it's all going to be because, obviously, because she brainwashed Herschel or does something maybe to get him hurt late in later episodes. So we have a lot going on with this, and it's just the story is just far more interesting than I could have hoped, and we got a lot going on as far as reveal and disintegration of relationships. Like I mentioned, I'm really enjoying seeing, just you can see it behind Croat's eyes. He can see that things are not what they seem, and that Dama does not respect him. She doesn't like him. She doesn't care what happens to him. She's all about maintaining her little position of power, however minor it may be. But with the methane and everything, they do have a little bit more to lose, or just more to offer, or just whatever. And something's going to happen where he's going to realize that he should be in charge, or something. He's going to be probably the reason that that little empire falls, or just play a part, or he could very well be one of those guys that gets down to the last second and he manages to slip away into the darkness and we don't see him again. But with everything that's happened with Croats and with everything with Dama, I mean, he could end up killing her too. There's just so much I think that's possible for this season and for these characters. I mean, obviously, I think anyways that they're going to wrap up the New York stuff this season, and seasons 3 and 4, if that's in fact what they end up doing and everything. They're probably going to be something else, or they could be a byproduct or a consequence of these seasons. But all in all, I love the episode. I'm really enjoying Dead City as a show and as a story and everything, because they put more effort into it, and it's just more convincing as just a story in general. And the people that wanted to complain or whatever about Lauren Cohan's acting, I think it's been flawless. There's been nothing wrong with it. I don't know what they were complaining about. And of course, you're always going to have your people that have their negative things to say, because it's The Walking Dead and it's just not what it used to be, but they're not willing to accept it for what it is now. I mean, I have my complaints for sure. I mean, Daryl Dixon, I've made that very clear about just what I think about that show. But anyways, guys, if you enjoyed the video, you enjoyed my thoughts about it, my breakdown, my review of the latest episode, please leave a like, leave a comment, consider subscribing, come back to the channel for more content just like this, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye.